Welcome to ENG 555. So far we have covered phonetics, phonology, morphology. This week we'll be discussing syntax. Yeah, what is syntax? Syntax is a subfield of linguistics that studies the internal structure of sentences and the relationships among their components. Okay, so we focus on the internal structure of a sentence. So you can see we analyze the levels, the larger than the words, right? Larger than word formation. Okay, so it examines how words are grouped and ordered within sentences, clauses, and phrases. Good. Now let us move on. I have a very small activity here, but it would be very fun. Think about this. You may have already done a class activity of making a sentence longer in your previous language classes. You know, I did that with my students before. You know, for example, one student, number one, will begin with a simple sentence of English. And then number two uses the first sentence, then add more constituents. Okay, number three continues to use the second sentence and add more constituents. So here, constituents, I mean those, chunks of words that, belong together as a unit. Okay, so I can begin. I will have a sentence such as, this is a classroom. You can add something.
Classroom filled with students.
Oh, good. This is a classroom filled with students. Very good.
This is the classroom filled with the students who are really interested in learning English.
Wow, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. So this is a clean and spacious classroom filled with students who are very interested in learning linguistics. Can we continue?
This is a clean and
Spacious
classroom filled with students who are really interested in learning linguistics.
You can add some more constituents. You don't have to add something in the end. You can even add a certain, say,
learning linguistics, comma, which is the study of language.
Very good, which is a systematic study of language. Very nice. You can even add something before classroom. You can even add something before this is, right? You can always have lots of places to add the, new constituents.
This is a clean and spacious class filled with students who are interested in linguistics, which is taught by Dr. Lee.
And is the study.
And the linguistic is the systematic study of language.
Good job. That's great. Wonderful. So if I want to then say it, for example, I can even add more phrases before the classroom, for example. For example, I can even add, we believe that, right? Or everybody knows that, right? So for example, you can say, everybody knows that this is a clean and spacious, technology enhanced classroom, on the first floor, filled with students who are interested in, linguistics, which is a scientific study of, say language, right? So whatever, So what can this activity tell us?
Expand the language.
Yeah, we can expand the sentence patterns. Very good.
Yeah.
This is the creativity, right? So we can,
Creativity.
this is creativity for languages. That's right. We can expand the sentence. Which level? Do you think this is a linear way?
Yeah, in a linear way.
That's right. Right? We can say, first of all, the number of grammatical sentences can be infinite. Right? We can add more and more and more. The more students join us, then we can get more sentences. Right? these activities they could go on and on, even last for the whole, class session, right? It may work, right? Because we know the number of grammatical sentences can be infinite. And also, the words in a sentence occur in a linear way. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yes. Good. Now, let us talk about sentence structure further. If we need to analyze the sentence structure, we need to consider three aspects. First of all, the linear order of the words in a sentence. Okay, actually, we discussed this already in our small activity. Okay, the linear order of the words in a sentence. Second one, let us think about the categorization of the words, right? That is to say, we want to discuss the part of the speech in a sentence. This part of speech may help us understand the function of each individual word or phrases, right? Okay, then the third one is we want to think about the grouping of the words as a structural constituents of the sentences. Now, let us discuss parts of speech first here. Okay, what are the parts of speech? So we know a lot of parts of speech, right? So for instance, we have nouns, adjectives,
prepositions, pronouns,
conjunctions, articles, right? So these are the parts of speech, right? So have you heard of word class? So actually, some parts of speech belong to the open class, while others belong to the closed class. Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah.
Okay. Sometimes we call something like a majority class, or sometimes we call like the closed class, which is a minor class. Major or minor, something like that. But here, I want to let you know, for example, when we talk about open class, we know, okay, these are nouns, verbs, adjectives, and adverbs, right? And there are also parts of speech that belong to closed class, such as pronouns, determiners, prepositions, and conjunctions. Is that clear to you?
Yeah.
Okay, you know parts of speech, of course, right? However, we need to distinguish between formal definition and a notional definition when we talk about the parts of speech. So as we know, for example, nouns, everybody, especially, the definition goes like anything that is a person, place, thing, or idea. This is what we are very familiar with, right? So that is actually the notional definition, right? So notional definition is what we're very familiar with, because even when we are in a K-12, say classrooms, and we know, okay, we are taught like that way, right? Even, say when you talk to the little ones, you will definitely teach them, these are nouns because, these are persons or places or ideas, something like that, right? It is helpful, right? Because for those kids, right, who cannot understand the terminologies, who actually cannot understand the sophisticated, say concepts, that would definitely help, right? However, here in linguistics, we focus more on the formal definitions. The formal definition refers to the specific characteristics of a grammatical construction. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, for instance, sometimes we got so confused if we only talk about the notional, right? If we feel like, I don't think this is a thing, or I don't think this is a place, or I don't think this is a person, why this is still a noun, right? Do you think we have some examples like that?
For example, we can use love as a noun.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it is not a thing, it is not a person, so still we call it a noun.
Exactly. Or you may even add, say, ing to a certain verb,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And still we believe, it's not. For example, we can say, for example, we say talking, speaking, right? Okay, something like that, or something like that. Is that right? So, for example, we can say, so speaking is allowed here, right? Or smoking is not allowed here, whatever, right? So, now you see?
Yes.
You can understand, using this specific definition there, right? So, here is a formal definition that might work, right? Because we know at this moment we discuss some grammatical features. And then we know this belongs to the categories of noun. Why? Because for nouns, we know some characteristics goes like this. The ability to be pluralized by the additions of s, right? In most cases, we know it can be pluralized by the addition of s. However, that would not apply to the say uncountable nouns, right? But anyway, it can be helpful, right? Also, the nouns occur right after the possessive pronoun. Is that correct? Yeah. So this is the say our department, right? This is say my room, whatever, right? So this is specific possessive. Right after this possessive noun, you see a noun, right? Okay. Then when we do this specific syntactic analysis, the formal definition may play an important role, because we know when we do syntactic analysis, we for sure examine how constructions are parsed, depends crucially upon where they occur in a sentence or in a clause in relation to other constructions. So that you can say you analyze the function of each individual constituent in comparison with other constituents in a sentence. Okay, now I will have a fun activity for you. Here goes a handout. The handout is named as the parser activity. In this activity, you will see two paragraphs. And in these two paragraphs, there are a lot of non-words, right? What we call made-up words, right? So non-words. And then you need to, determine what each individual non-word means, according to the context. So here you want to do some syntactic analysis. You want to figure out first what parts of speech it is, and then think about the specific meaning. You may even have several choices, right? You may have maybe one or two suggestions. You can say this may mean blah blah blah, or it can mean something. So we will see. Now I will give you the 2-page handout. And for online students, I have already uploaded to the course site. Okay, please do these activities on your own. Yeah, you guys can discuss. Because the second one is a continuation of the first story, so that you can compare each other's answers,
So once the
Time.
so it's a noun. Yes. There was old man. This is an adjective, yeah?
It was a,
For example,
wait.
a smart old man. Okay?
oh, you know what, I put grumpy, but then I was like,
What's an
oh, that
adjective,
wasn't
yeah?
number 2. But yes, it's an adjective.
So you said grumpy?
Yeah, grumpy old man. But I got confused here because then I saw number 2 and it said a knack.
So what's this is why grumpy? Grumpy also can.
Well, yeah, because it's an adjective, whatever adjective you have.
I want to say fragile.
You can say fragile.
Of course, there's saying no. Only you have a lot of choices, I think.
Yeah.
But for this one, I even think about adverb because I want to use something to modify.
Adverb also. An
A
adverb.
really
Yeah.
old man.
That's right. So
Okay, so you
I
could even
for me,
do
I just at the
adverb.
first side, I feel like, I need adverb because I need something to modify the old, right?
Ah.
Yeah. So we have a lot of choices.
He had 3 anarch. Because he wants to sell. At first, I thought maybe children, but then I thought,
Sons.
yeah, but because he wants to sell them,
Mhm.
so it's much better to say, for example, something like pigs, sheep, goats.
That's true.
So noun and plural. So
Oh, yeah.
Whatever, maybe farm animals, maybe, right?
Farm animals.
Yeah, that's right. Or even like vegetables, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That he named.
Yeah. So she could water the. Oh, sorry. However, no. He went to Passage.
Now.
That's the French. Passage.
Uh-huh.
Market.
Oh, okay.
That's right.
Market. So it's a noun. Place and it's noun. Yes. With his pigs. With his farm animals. However, he left his beanie Wife,
I
so
put
it's a
daughter,
noun.
but now, yeah.
Oh, is it daughter?
Makes sense,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, just makes sense.
So she could water the
This is
Say-
something,
say
it's
your
totally
say.
different, so if this is water, so what?
So I said maybe flowers,
I
vegetables,
said
greens.
flowers.
Wonderful,
So it's a noun.
okay,
So
wow.
he went to the
Interesting.
bazaar to sell flowers. He set up his stand and began to sell his flowers right away while they were fresh. Vegetables fresh, or flowers.
Mhm.
And orange catchy, I said, a shopper or a customer.
It's a noun. And
It's a noun.
I don't
It's
know
a-
why. I just put orangutan. I don't know
You
why.
know, whatever, to say specific person would work, I
Yeah.
think,
Okay.
you know,
So it's a noun.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
So
I'm gonna.
Yeah, I agree. I actually say choose like but however the better thing is that you have to use something like right after and, you know,
yeah.
so you feel like
Ah,
maybe we need something.
Well, it's and it can be also an adjective and a noun. Yes.
Exactly. Yeah.
See?
An overworked housewife came and
Or
stopped.
also you can say an old house.
Yeah,
Old
there you
housewife.
go. Yeah.
Okay, we'll do that one.
So an
So
old
this is-
housewife.
Adjective and
Yeah.
noun.
So
He looked
mhm.
looking carefully at the bear. And the gang is he looked really,
That's right.
because that's our adverb.
That's right.
So he looked really carefully at the bear, who is one of the pigs.
That's right. So that's the reason now you know this is specific to say noun word should be the adverb Right. because you have to use the adverb for modify
Because it
carefully.
wouldn't make sense
That's
if it was an adjective at that
Yeah.
point.
That's right.
Then he, sabuchaka, which I said verb,
Yeah.
exclaimed.
Or asked.
Well, see,
Oh.
but
oh.
then he says
He's
here,
very
what a
excited, right?
kawaii
He's
looking
excited about
anaka is.
that's right.
The exclamation point
Okay.
gave me a
Good,
clue
yeah,
that
thank
it
you.
was an exclamation.
Good.
And he's exclaiming.
Uh-huh.
And then what a kawaii looking anaka is. I said adjective, smart. What is smart?
Sorry for
Number 9.
number 9. Then he this one is this is a verb or
I said verb.
verb? Yeah.
It's clay. Yeah.
Exclaim. So number 10 we don't have. 11. Potak didn't lately to strangers.
Okay, we're still
Didn't.
we're still in number 9 because word A looking. You know,
Yeah. Sorry.
should
Yeah.
have something
I
modified.
put an adjective here, said whether, for example, weird looking or smart looking.
Good.
Yeah,
Or good looking.
yeah, good looking.
Yeah, whatever adjective would work.
Do you want to sell him? And there was nothing on that one. Botak didn't lally berchakata to strangers, but he.
You can say answer here.
But he
See, it's the same one, right?
Answer back.
He exclaimed. Saber Chakab is exclaimed. So I just put for Lally Burchakab, I put adverb verb or well really verb adverb. He didn't talk much to strangers, but he exclaimed.
Oh.
With that word,
Interesting.
he didn't talk much to
Uh-huh,
strangers, but
uh-huh.
he exclaimed.
Okay, so you have verb and adverb.
Yes, verb and adverb. Talk much.
Uh-huh.
Because I just put it, I just saw that there were two separate
Yeah,
words, so that's why I
Works,
said.
yeah, I think so. But anyway, if you have only one, it's still.
Yeah, and you
How-
could still say
yeah.
verb. Like
Yeah.
if you were saying all this is
Yeah,
one
this
word,
is
then
yeah.
it would just be verb. He
That's an answer. But,
didn't
yeah.
answer to strangers, but he exclaim.
What is
What are you? Some kind of ka-chang or something? Like
some kind of a kitchen or something? Because of a, I will say it is a noun.
I put now. I just said merchant. I don't know
Merchant.
exactly.
Because this person wants to have their farm animals, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
A farmer or something. Or something.
That's right.
Yeah.
Or certain, I mean, anyway, the line that shows
Finally,
the person.
for
Yeah.
example, like finally, I would say this is an adverb.
Yeah, of course, this is,
Yeah.
you can say adverb as well.
Say
Yeah.
adverb.
You can say, but you can
That's
choose
what I
this.
was wondering. What
You
a
can choose it.
conjunction or, what it would be if I said nevertheless, or.
Yeah, so in this case, you can do whatever the adverbs here as well, right? You have like as a result, right? Or consequently,
I like as a result then.
right?
Cook is anarch. So pigs, for example, home for lunch,
Uh-huh.
which by now his wife had prepared.
Everything's good.
The next day, Pathak with his bear and hare to the market.
Does it work?
As usual, he left his wife at home to water the
Flowers.
flowers and prepare the meals as well. He
That's right.
also left his youngest piglet at home because he didn't want to sell him to the this is
Merchant.
now
Old
to the
housewife.
to the
Oh,
Overworked housewife.
okay, yeah.
to the merchant.
Arriving at the
Arriving at the market,
together with his pigs, displayed his flowers.
Yes.
By 11 o'clock, he sold nearly all his flowers and he was getting ready to go home. Suddenly, the overworked housewife appeared and, Berchaka.
So this time you needed to double check,
yeah,
right?
appeared.
This is adverb. Well,
I think
this can be a verb,
Becherka
right?
means shouted surely.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it
surely
is a
is the
verb.
adverb.
Yeah.
So,
But go check this one. What did you note down just now? I mean, for the
birth
first
checkup,
second.
I don't think the birth checkup. Oh, wait.
Whichever the other one.
I put Lally Birchacap to strangers. Birchacap was an adverb. which
Shout,
means
maybe.
much.
Maybe shout is a good one.
Yeah.
Because
Didn't
he
shout.
normally didn't shout, right?
Yes.
Yes, I like that. So then we need to change it.
You know, we can change this to adverb. We say
Shout.
Fotak didn't really shout to strangers, but he said,
That's
or
right.
what he
That's right.
exclaimed.
The other one we discussed that you should
Yeah.
have an adverb first,
Adverb, yeah.
and
Really?
the verb.
Shout.
Exactly.
That's right.
Really shout. So adverb verb, but he said, exclaimed.
That's right.
So here that's it, same. And said, or sorry, he
Shout.
and shouted.
Here and
so
shouted.
Shouted. So surely is an adverb.
Mhm.
Surely is an English word or?
Yes, it's
Oh,
like,
a-
uh-huh.
oh,
If
yeah.
you're
Surely.
really, it's like this,
Yeah.
when people are talking.
Exactly.
That's shrill.
Uh-huh.
Ladies.
Okay, so you're.
So,
Oh,
yeah.
you're smart or you're. I put smart. I don't know.
You
You're
said weird.
Yeah, you said
Weird, anak isn't here, just the unattractive ones. Say weird. Ugly, for example.
Yeah. See now?
Mm.
So
We
you're
just narrowed the
pretty.
specific scope
So
for our
that
choice.
Hawaii was. You're pretty, anak is in here. Your pretty sheep or your pretty pig isn't here.
Oh,
Just
that's
the
good,
unattractive
yeah.
ones.
That's right.
Okay, so you have excellent vision. Saber chaka fotak.
Is the answer, right? You will say it.
Exclaim. Didn't we put exclaim for saber chaka? Yeah, exclaim.
You have excellent vision, sunshine.
exclaimed Botak. Perhaps you can also see that I don't want to talk to you. With that, Botak lifted his one remaining flower, which was by now slightly wilted, and whacked the overworked housewife on the head. After that, strangely enough, Botak, his daughter or his wife, and all three of his pigs lived
Really happy.
really
Huh?
happily ever after.
Yeah.
The queen of the story, I would say moral.
That's right.
Mm,
The moral, which is noun. Moral of the
yeah,
story
more
is,
now.
if you're looking for pretty looking boys, the market is no place to go.
So it makes great sense now, huh?
Wow.
Okay.
Boys, so we
So
can
then
say Anak,
They
Anak
were
is boys.
sons.
Yeah,
right?
also
They
we can
were
say
sons.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Anak. This is my first, see, look at this, I said children. but
I
then
had
children.
said, I had said sons at first, but then we thought animals, so I'm like, oh, well, I'll change it to
So
sheep.
let's change it to boys.
So it's gonna be boys.
But again, we were kids.
Because finally, okay, boys are there. Okay,
Well, this was fun.
I know. Okay, good. You know what? Let us go through the answers. Even though we have already, discussed, say the answers together, but I'm thinking the online students might want to know the answer, right? Well, then we can come up with. But remember, there are actually a lot of, say choices in the very beginning. So you think about it and you try to narrow down, the scope of your choices, and finally you come up with the answer, right? So, Gary and Rita, would you mind reading your answers to us?
Okay, sure.
Do you wanna go?
You do the first one, I will
And
do
we
the
keep going,
second.
okay. Once upon a time, or do we say the?
What kind?
Okay, so we're gonna say what we, okay,
You
one,
have the name there, the word there, and what's the translation? Okay, the non-word translation. However, the part of speech help you understand, and then help you figure out what the meaning is.
so once upon a king, which is a noun, and translation is time, there was a nagang, which is an adverb, really old man named Potak.
Very good. The adverb should be added before the adjective. So the adverb here really modify the adjective old. Good.
No, you do the first page, I will do the
Oh,
second.
you're gonna do,
Sure.
okay, I see. He had 3 anak, which is a plural noun, and sons, named Fair, Bear, and Pear.
So at this moment we're not sure, right?
We're not
Whether
sure.
whether we
Not
should
sure.
put like sons or daughters or even like
Or-
farm animals.
Sheep,
I was thinking of like sheep or pigs, goats, whatever, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay, but at this moment we keep this open, so we feel like okay, something or somebody, right, would work. Good.
And 3, he went to Pasad, which is a noun, houses, with his anak sons. 4, however, he left his bini, noun, wife, at home so she could water the seod, and we put seod whereas a noun, and it's flowers.
Okay, but remind me of the first one. You mentioned that they went to which place? They went to the house or they went to the market?
I had put facade, noun, houses. They went to houses. This is before we got here.
Okay,
We went
okay,
to
and
houses.
they needed to go to the market,
Yeah,
right? Later,
so
you know that.
They're
Okay,
at the market.
that's right.
So facade is actually market.
That's right.
Okay, he set up his stand and began to sell his flowers right away while they were fresh. An orange kitchel, which is a adjective noun, and we put overworked housewife, or no, old housewife, came by and stopped in front of Potak's stall.
Very good. So getting to say here, we feel like we definitely need something before a noun, and this specific, say, so you said you add a adjective before the noun and overworked housewife, right?
Yes.
Because there is an and that indicates we should use something that begins with vowel, right?
Yeah.
So this is very smart, and you use overworked, right? And overworked housewife. Good.
He looked again, which is really carefully at fair.
Good.
Then he saber chaka, which we said is a verb, exclaimed, what a kawaii looking anak that is. What a kawaii is adjective. So we said pretty looking son that is.
Good.
Do you want to sell him? Botak didn't lally berchakap, and we put adverb verb. Lally is really shout to strangers, but he exclaimed, which is saber chakep.
Wait a moment. You seem really shout or
Yeah,
maybe
He didn't. Well, that cannot be really.
very.
He didn't very shout.
So we have didn't. So we have some
Normally shout. He
normally.
didn't.
That's right. So we got
Adverb
it.
normally.
Yeah.
He didn't normally
Normally shout.
shout to strangers, but he exclaimed, "What are you? Some kind of kachang or something?" Kachang we say is a noun, and so we
A
said
person.
merchant.
Okay. Is merchant?
Lepasitu, we put it's a conjunction, or it could also be an adverb. So, or if it's an adverb, finally, conjunction as a result. Botak took his anakanak, which are sons, home for lunch, which by now his bini had prepared, his wife had prepared.
Wonderful. So here you can see that so thinking of this part of speech help us understand, so the meaning. But anyway, we need to figure out whether all these answers are correct. Right after we finish the second activity, we know for sure now, the choices are correct.
Okay, the next day Fodak went with bear and pear to the passer or to the market, and it's a noun. As usual, he left his bini or wife, a noun, at home to water the sayor or the vegetables and prepare the meals as well. Something I noticed here, when they want to show the plural, they repeat the word twice.
Twice, yeah,
Sayor,
Good.
sayor.
that's right.
Anorak, anorak.
Yeah.
Anorak, anorak.
Good observation. That's right. So you think that the sayer may mean vegetable,
Yeah.
or
It's
it may
plural,
mean
yeah,
flowers.
flowers,
That's
yeah.
right. And especially if it's a plural
Yeah.
noun, and then they repeat.
So it's a
say.
plural now.
Good
Number
observation.
3. He also left his youngest anak or youngest son at home. So son, youngest is an adjective, so anak is a noun.
Good.
At home because he didn't want to sell him to the orange kechi. The plus noun, and our noun is here is the overworked one.
Yeah.
Number 4, arriving at the market or the pasar, Fotak together with his anar, so it is plural with his sons, and we have his, so this is possessive adjective. After that we have the noun.
That's right.
So displayed his flowers. Say yours. By 11 o'clock, he sold nearly all his flowers and he was getting ready to go home. Suddenly, the overworked housewife appeared and shouted shrilly. Shrilly is an adverb, so before that we need a verb. So, berchaka, we know that it's a verb.
That's right. It's a verb. That's right.
Your kawaii, attractive or pretty anak son isn't here, just the unattractive.
So you got it as the adjective, right?
Yeah, adjective. So you have excellent vision, saber chakap for that. So saber chakap here is a verb. Yes, and it is exactly after the quotation mark, so it is a verb, yeah? So, exclaimed, yes, very good. Perhaps you can also see that I don't want to talk to you. With that, Photag lifted his one remaining flower, sayer, so it is sing, flower, which was by now slightly wilted, and whacked the orange ketchy on the head. Orange ketchy or the overworked housewife. Yes. After that, strangely enough, Photag, his Bini, his wife, and all three of his sons lived really happily. So NGENG, after that they have happily, so this is adverb, really, ever after. The, we need the noun of noun. It is, so here we have noun.
Yes.
We say the queen of the story.
Yes. The moral of the story.
The moral of the story.
That's
So it's a noun. If you're looking for quirky looking boys, so
Now,
quirky, pretty looking boys, so we know that anag means boys.
Boys now, yeah. Not the part.
The
Okay, good.
market is no place to go.
Wonderful. I hope you enjoyed this activity. Okay, good. So try to associate this with our, say syntactic knowledge. So let us continue. When we analyze the, say, internal structure of a sentence, you should definitely want to know for sure, exactly what the constituents are, right? So when we talk about constituents, we may address word classes and phrases. Okay, so think about this. The phrases may include noun phrases, verb phrases, prepositional phrase, adjective phrase. Are you familiar with all these phrases,
Yeah.
different types?
Yeah.
Actually, you can consult the examples in our table there, right? Table 5.3, page 122. I don't want to go through them one by one, but I would like you to, check that table. For sure, think about the head word. What is a head word first? If the head word is an adjective, then this phrase is an adjective phrase. If the head word, say, is a noun, for example, and then this is a noun phrase, right? So, for instance, let us, say, take maybe one or two examples here on page 122. The first one, a noun phrase, right? For example, we have an expert in aerodynamics, right? The one is a head word. An expert in aerodynamics.
The head noun would be expert.
Expert, that's right.
Expert.
So now we know that is a
It's a noun.
noun word, or noun phrase, right? So let us take another example like this one, call off the meeting. Call off the meeting, right? We do not focus on off, right? Instead, we focus on call.
Yeah.
Call is a head word. So now we know this is a verb phrase. And also the adjective phrase such as prone to anxiety, low on money, jealous of his brother. So once again, these head words are adjectives, so we call them adjective, nouns, phrases, right? Adjective phrases. Is that clear?
Yes.
Okay, now let us do the activity very quickly on page 147. Let us do them together. There are several choices for us. You need to match the items on the left column with the items on the right column.
This
Okay.
is my instruction. What page?
Page 147.
Oh,
Yes, 147. Did you notice that? Item 7, exercise 7. So did you see the first phrase
Yeah.
is a can study?
so can is the modal, the studies are there.
The modal plus a verb, right? So that is a, which one do you choose?
Their phrase.
Very good. Verb phrase, right? Number 2, sufficiently soft. So think about the head word again.
It's an adverb sufficiently, so that's adverb phrase. Yes?
Sufficiently soft. What is the head?
Oh,
Head.
I
Head
would
word.
say soft.
soft is an
Soft,
adjective.
Soft.
Yeah.
Soft is a head word. Even though there is an adverb
Yeah.
there, still we call it an adjective phrase. Do you agree? Because because the head word is soft,
Yes.
right? So sufficiently soft is an adjective phrase. Okay, should be say C, right? Now how about next one?
So
3.
softly is an adverb. There is an adverb. Softly is an adverb. So this is an adverb phrase.
Very good. So adverb plus adverb. So once again, the head word is
soft.
softly, right? Since softly is an adverb, then we know very softly is an adverb phrase. Very good. So we choose B. How about 4? After the movie. After the movie.
Preposition.
I will choose it as a
Prepositional.
prepositional.
Very good. Okay. Okay. We all agree. Prepositional E. How about 5?
Effectively presented talk. Talk is a noun, so presented and effectively are modifying talk, so I will choose it as a noun phrase.
Wonderful. So the head word again is talk.
Talk.
So all these specific, say adjectives or ed, say participle there, modify, right? Talk. So again, this is the a noun phrase. How about next one? Hard as a rock.
As hard as-
Hard.
I would say it's hard is the head word, so adjective phrase.
Do you agree? Yes. Hard is. So it is a
Adjective.
adjective. Very good. So adjective phrase. C. How about rapidly?
Adverb.
Adverb. Yeah. Good. So we have adverb phrase. So here sometimes, when we talk about just this adverb, then we can say this belongs to adverb phrase, right? So you still can choose, let's say B. That makes sense? Later I'll let you know when you do the tree diagram, when we talk about NP, noun phrase, NP, okay? Then you can actually write down a noun there because the noun actually belongs to the NP.
So
That
if
makes
you're
sense?
doing trees,
Tree, yes, right.
okay, so and you have this, you put down noun phrase or adverb phrase first, and then
Then you should adverb.
and then
Good.
the
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 specific
word.
adverb. That's right.
Oh,
Very
okay.
good. So I'll show you later. Okay, you'll see clearly. Next one, furniture.
Noun.
Noun.
Good. Noun phrase. How about next one? Against the tide.
Against is a preposition, so and against is a preposition.
Prepositional phrase. Wonderful. How about next one?
What's a problem is the head word.
Good.
So it would be a noun phrase.
Noun phrase. Wonderful. Okay. So it's a piece of cake, huh? Let us continue. So now we need to understand this sentence, but I will try to move step by step for you to understand how that tree diagram will work. Okay. So before we do the tree diagram, we need to figure out what are the constituents. Okay. So this sentence goes like, the people in the room will move the desk into the hall. Now, what are the constituents you want to include? So once again, constituents means a group or a chunk of the words that belong together as a unit, right? So that's to say, when you draw your tree diagram, you want to put a certain chunk of words together, right? So the people in the room will move the desk into the hall. What will be the first constituent?
The people.
Good. The people, right? Then how about second one? In the room, will move the desk or into the hall. Very good. By the way, sometimes you can even divide this will and move the desk because you want to highlight will is the auxiliary there, So you definitely can, say have an even, say, shorter constituent. Let us analyze these constituents using a tree diagram. Okay, remember, the tree diagram shows us not only the linear structuring of the constituents, most importantly, you can see here, we focus on the hierarchical structures now. Is that clear? That's the reason why we use tree diagram even to, say for us to understand the ambiguity, right? For example, a sentence can be ambiguous. It might mean, say maybe 2 different meanings, right? If it has 2 different meanings, we want to draw 2 different tree diagrams to illustrate the difference, right? Okay, for example, for this one here, no ambiguity at all. It's very easy. So if you need to use a tree diagram to analyze the noun phrase, the people, or the prepositional phrase in the room, here goes the graph. Okay, noun phrase, the people. So noun phrase consists of an article and a noun, right? So what is the article? The.
Are those the determiners?
Exactly, wonderful. Very good question.
The determiners or articles?
Wonderful. So here we can say article belongs to determiner. So then to say article is a type level determiner. Does that make sense? Because we also have some other types of determiner. For example, we have a quantifier. Like a few, how many, maybe 2, 3. You know what I mean? That makes sense. So this article, you can definitely change it to determiner. It is of course okay, because article belongs to the bigger, say category.
So when you're doing entry, it would be okay to say
determiner and the noun. Very good.
Okay.
Okay. Is that clear? How about next one? In the room. In the room.
Yeah.
Now we know it is a prepositional phrase.
It has preposition and noun phrase.
Very good. Then we needed to divide it into, say two, groups now. Preposition plus noun phrase, right? So in is a preposition. The room, again, you can have determiner and noun or article and noun. It's very clear, huh? Now, let us make it even longer than we have for this one. Say in our textbook, the sentence about sentence on page 127. I know this is a full sentence here. Then you have S. Okay, you always begin with S. So S means sentence. Is that clear? So you have sentence. Then I called my mother. So I called my mother. So you have again your subject NP. Then called VP. My mother NP. Did you get it? On page 127.
Yeah.
So the sentence is I called my mother. So I belongs to NP. Called belongs to VP. My mother belongs to NP again. Right? So right after that, you can see in our textbook we have V is a pronoun. Okay. Right after the NP we have pronoun because here pronoun just functions as a noun, right? Or you can say it, Peter called his mom, right? Or somebody. So here, right after that, you have pronoun. Then I. The verb is called. Then you analyze my mother. So once again, my is possessive pronoun. Here you can use determiner again, right? So you have determiner and a noun. Then my mother. Is that clear? So to be very specific, you want to remember these rules. Usually sentence consists of the noun phrase and verb phrases. And when you analyze your noun phrase, you know possibly it can be divided into an article or determiner plus a noun, right? Then if you decide, if you need to analyze VP and think about the, lower level and say units, for example, like V plus NP, okay, verb plus noun phrase, right? So hit the ball, hit verb, the ball, noun phrase, okay, and the preparational phrase. So you definitely want to divide it into P and
preposition and noun phrase.
That's right. So in preparation and noun phrase. Let us try this. This is a very nice website you can go because it gives you the chance to, draw this very neat diagram here. You don't need to handwrite your answer, but here you just go there and you check specific, you import specific, contents. For example, you use I as the NP, you use call as your VP, and you have my mother, as the NP. And then you can, derive this diagram. I would like you to try this now if you have a laptop. Okay, you go to this website. Here I give you the simplified tree diagrams. So sometimes you don't have to analyze each individual unit. You can combine one or two together. For example, like here, you can combine my mother because now we know my mother is noun phrase. You don't have to divide noun phrase into the noun, the determiner, and the noun. Does it make sense? Let us try.
So the noun phrase.
Use the I. Let's try it.
Verb.
Okay, have NP. Did you notice that when you do the simplified tree diagram, you have this specific triangle here? That means, this is, simplified. That is to say, I do not want to, further analyze it because now we know already the determiner plus that. So you just put them together as my mother. See, look at this. The original one goes like this, right? So I feel, it must be very similar because this one, it has NP, it has VP, and also it has IP, NP, right? Did you notice that there is something that specific, say mark here? It goes like you don't have to have all this together because this is a triangle here, right? So that is to say, if you don't want to say further analyze this bug, you just need to have this bug together as a noun phrase. So that's the reason you can see this specific, say, mark here. Does it make sense? Now, this is what I do. I change this into I. If you want to further analyze, you can say this is a pronoun, right? But I told you, you guys definitely can do the simplified version, right? Then you just have this I there, and then the verb should be is, right? So you can say verb phrase is, or you may even delete it, right? You can make it very easy. You can go like this. I called. Is that right? And then you just need to change a verb into my mother. You got it? Right? It's easy, huh? Okay, so next time when you do the assignment, chapter assignment, you may definitely choose so either the simplified tree diagrams or the full developed tree diagrams. So that is to say, sometimes if you don't want to divide NP into determiner and phrase, and the noun, then you just, for example, just have the NP, the noun phrase here. Okay, now I will give you another chance to work on these tree diagrams. Good. Now let us move on. I would like you to think of this. Remember just now I mentioned the tree diagram is really helpful because it gives us the chance to analyze the internal structure so that for us to even understand better about the ambiguous sentence or ambiguous phrase. Now I give you a phrase that is ambiguous here. Why it is ambiguous here? Because foreign language specialist, you can go foreign language specialist or foreign language specialist. Right?
Yeah.
Can you interpret the meaning if I do foreign language specialist? What does it mean?
Means that the language specialist is foreign.
That's right. Exactly. But if I have foreign language specialist,
Then that's the specialist in foreign language.
that's right. So exactly, the foreign modifies language, right? Yes. So, but if I have foreign language specialist, this specialist does not have to, be the expert in a foreign language, right? Just in language, right? Good. Now I finished this one for you already. Foreign language specialist. So noun phrase, right? Then the second level noun phrase and the noun. So that is to say you have foreign language in the noun phrase and the specialist and the noun. Then you further analyze the noun phrase, the adjective and the noun, foreign language.
I'm just trying to draw.
You try to draw the second one, right? The different. Okay. Then what is the other structure?
So I will write noun phrase, then noun phrase just noun and put foreign.
Good. So that is to say, basically, you will definitely keep this noun phrase here, right?
Yeah.
And then you add P here,
Exactly.
noun phrase. Very good. Then how about here? Then the noun phrase, there's only one.
Only one noun
Noun.
and then foreign.
Then you say noun, and then foreign. Very good. But for the second one, you can have
Language, a special language adjective, the specialist noun.
so language specialist, right?
Yeah.
So here I would definitely keep that language as a noun. because noun can modify noun.
Yeah.
Does it make sense?
Exactly.
So of course,
Yeah.
you know, we strongly believe that adjective can modify noun, but sometimes noun can modify noun as well,
Yes,
right?
that's right.
So we have noun phrase, then divided into noun and another noun. So language specialist.
This is what I did. Noun phrase,
Mhm.
then I divide into two parts. Noun phrase, noun phrase. The first noun phrase just goes to one noun,
Mhm.
and then goes to the foreign.
That's right.
And the second noun phrase, I divide into two parts, noun and noun.
Mhm.
The first one language, and the second one is special.
That's right. So I'll show you here. Maybe you need me to show you something. So let me show you here. Let us try this, okay? To see whether it works. Okay, good. So we have once again foreign, the language, the specialist. So if we do the second structure, we once again have NP, and then we divide it into, for example, NP here and NP here. So this time we want to group this together, right? So we have N, an adjective here. So that is interesting because here, since this is a foreign, we only need what? Adjective phrase. We just have AP. AP. Okay, so I made a mistake just now because here we definitely want to, say emphasize foreign is an adjective, right? And then since we talked about foreign already, now we move on to language special. Then now we have N and N. Go like this. Is that clear?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so we have NP, now AP. NP consists of AP and NP. So this AP is adjective, okay, foreign. And the NP consists of N and N. Language and special. Say specialist, sorry. So we have NP here already, right? And then you need a, say, AP here for adjective, right? And then you need specific verb here, I'll say adjective here to indicate that AP is foreign. Yeah, here we go. And then you have another NP, is that right? So AP and NP. That's right, NP. And then the NP consists of a noun first. The noun is language. And then another noun. Does it make sense? Non-specialist. Oh, it looks like, good. It looks perfect, right? Here we have adjective phrase, we have noun phrase, and then we have N, the language specialist. Okay, so I hope you will understand this even better right after this class because you need to use this website to finish your chapter assignment. Okay, now let us move on. Okay, so again, I would like you to draw the different tree diagrams to show the structural ambiguity this time the sentence. Right? Just now we discussed the how to draw different tree diagrams to show the ambiguity of a phrase. Now let us discuss this sentence first. The mother of the boy and the girl will arrive soon. How can this be ambiguous? This sentence ambiguous?
Well, do the boy and the girl both belong to the mother? Or is it just the boy that belongs to the mother?
Yeah.
Good, very good. So we know we are thinking of one person or two persons, right? If this is only one person, we know the boy and the girl's mother, right? So we know the key, say, head word is mother. Right? But if we are talking about two persons, we know the mother of the boy is one person, and the girl is another person, right?
Yes.
Now, then let us draw the two tree diagrams. Okay, you can definitely use a simplified version. So remember, when we talk about simplified version, we can definitely, just have this specific chunk, as for example, NP. So you're done. You don't have to divide the NP into the determiner and the noun. Okay. Now let us try. And if you do not have your laptop, try drawing your tree diagram by hand. And if you have a laptop, you try to use this, say, a website. And then go there and see whether it works for you. Now let us do 2 tree diagrams to show the difference. Are you ready to share the results? Is that easy for you to draw these diagrams? Let us take a look. So here I want to share with you one thing before we, discuss the specific, use of the software. Now, you may ask, why, I showed you just like this specific linear one, right? Because I actually omit this specific level. So in your chapter assignment, you may definitely, choose even adding, more levels here. You know what I mean? So here, when I do the mother of the boy and the girl, you can definitely add this NP and VP here, right? So in my PowerPoint slides, I didn't add it. But of course, you can do it here. So you say sentence is divided into NP and VP, right? Then NP, okay, divided into NP and another NP. So now this NP is the mother of the boy. And then this goes to end. Then this the girl. Right? And then will arrive soon is again a verb phrase. So you can have a verb phrase and an auxiliary plus VP. Then auxiliary is will. Then the VP arrive. If you want to make it even, say, more specific, you can have VP here arrive soon divided into V plus adverb. But you don't have to. You can use the simplified version. How about the second one? We do it together. For the second one, we can have S sentence. Do you think we should?
Noun phrase.
Very good. Noun phrase and verb phrase again, right? Then the noun phrase here is a little bit different because we have noun phrase. We can have noun phrase and original phrase. We want to do the simplified version. We have the mother, right? But if you don't want to do the simplified version, you can have determiner and the one and the noun. It's good. So you can have, of course, determiner and the noun. Then that is the mother, right? And then the PP is, of course, of the boy and the girl, right? Or if you have you want to have this specific, say details there, and then you can have of and the preposition. Is that correct? And then you have NP. Okay. Then what is the preposition? Of. Then how about the NP? The boy and the girl. Is that right? Yeah, we definitely want to have the simplified here, right? Because you really don't want to continue say NP and NP. Of course you can, but everybody know that NP can be divided into determiner and a noun. You know what I mean? So here you can of course write down the boy and the girl. Okay, so now it's very clear. Our subject, the mother of the boy and the girl, focus on the mother. Okay, now how about the VP? It's the same. We have auxiliary again, and then VP. Right? Sometimes we capitalize this, first letter. Now we have will. Then arrive soon. So this time, if you want to do this, that's okay. It's good. We have arrive. Okay. So this is actually simplified version. So this is what I do and using, by using that website. If you, go into there and then you can do this. It's easy for you to do it.
I have to go home and practice.
Okay, you want to practice later, right? Okay, since you didn't bring your laptop, right? That's okay. Sure. For this assignment, you can even, say, write all this manually. Some students may want to write this manually. So for those students, please, you just have the scanned version, and of course, upload it to the, say, submission link, next week when the, assignment is due. Got it? Okay, let us move on. Have you ever thought of this? Ambiguity can definitely be divided into two types. One is structural ambiguity, and the second one is lexical ambiguity. So structural ambiguity is also called syntactic ambiguity. What are the differences? Structural ambiguity versus lexical ambiguity.
I think the one that just we studied, for example, the mother of the boy and the girl will arrive soon. This is the structural ambiguity.
Very good. Structural. Why?
The structure changes the meaning,
Not as in what?
not just one word.
Good. Very good. So very good point. So if this is a lexical ambiguity, I know a certain word is actually say polysemy, right? We know polysemy. One word has a lot of meanings, has multiple meanings. Then I know, okay, because of this specific word, now I know there are multiple meanings, right? And that is called a lexical ambiguity, right? But if we talked about the structural ambiguity, we know there's no word that has a quite, say confusing meaning for us. Why? Why it is still ambiguous? Because of what? Because of the structure, the combination, right? Or grouping. If we group a chunk differently, then we know the meanings are different, right? Now, for example, I'll give you two sentences. The mother of the boy and the girl will arrive soon. See with that. So this is an example for structural ambiguity. But the second one is we're going to the bank.
The bank, so here can be the bank of the river, or it can be the place that we go to deposit money or get money.
That's right. Very good. Good. I know, say, my son always give me a lot of like clever riddle or jokes. A lot of this actually has something to do with the lexical, say ambiguity, right? Very, very interesting. Okay, so because one word has several meanings, and then you need to figure out which specific meaning, right, it has. For example, like here, going to the bank, we are really not sure, right, whether this person, we are going to the river bank or we're going to the bank where we can save money, right? We can, say, deposit or, withdraw some money. Okay.
Last night I was practicing just these sentences. I found an ambiguous sentence. It was a bit funny, just drawing the trees. And it was, I showed that to Mary. I killed the mouse in my pajamas.
Interesting. Very good. So think about, the way for us to use the tree diagrams. Because when we talked about the lexical ambiguity, it's really hard for us to, say, depict these differences, right? Because we have to illustrate verbally or, say, written down the differences. It's hard for us to use the visual, the diagram, right? Diagrams, because it lies on this individual word. So that's to say, the tree diagrams is very helpful when we analyze the structural ambiguity rather than the lexical ambiguity.
Hi, Dr. Lee, just one question. So when you say we're going to the bank, if we want to just draw the...
Yeah, if you draw the tree diagram, then it should be the same.
Oh, it is.
Don't you think so?
Yeah.
So, of course, we are going to, right? We, noun phrase, then pronoun we, then are going to, right? So we have auxiliary and the verb continue with the noun phrase, the bank.
Yeah.
Right? We cannot actually distinguish the meaning here because whatever meaning it has, we always have determiner and a noun. So that is to say, we usually, don't use the tree diagrams to show the lexical ambiguity. This is an important statement here. Structural ambiguity cannot be attributed to an ambiguity in any of the words of the sentence. So in contrast, lexical ambiguity is attributable to the ambiguity in a word, right? So if one word has some different meanings, then possibly the whole sentence may mean, say differently. Let us move on. Right after we discuss the tree diagrams, I want to draw your attention to the clauses because in syntax, we also discuss clauses a lot. I do think that this has a lot to do with your, say knowledge that you learned in English 501, the structure of English language, right? So I know in that course you discuss parts of speech, you discuss word class, also you discuss clauses, Is that right? So here I just really want to go this very quickly. I want you to try to understand the differences between the main clause and the subordinate clause. Okay, so what is the main clause? Main clause usually contains a predicator consisting of the finite verb. The finite verb can consist of obligatory lexical verb, but sometimes this lexical verb can be together with the auxiliary verb. Does it make sense? For example, like will arrive soon. So we have will arrive. Now, next one. Subordinate clause is a part of the main clause. It's a part of the main clause. So that is to say, it's only part of the main clause. So if we talked about the ing, ed, or to infinitive clause, and then we know this is a subordinate clause, right? Then what is a main clause? Usually the main clause, contains the, finite verb. But ing, ed participle, and to infinitive are not finite verb. Second, if you see the finite verb, but you see this finite verb headed by the subordinating conjunction, then you know that is also a subordinate clause. Let me give you the example for ing one. For example, say, you say, listening to music, Mary is cooking, right? So listening to music, come on, Mary is cooking. So you know, listening to music should be the subordinate or the main clause. Subordinate. Because you know this ing shows you that this is subordinate clause. Then how about Mary is cooking? Then it's the main clause. Right? Now, if we do not have this ing or ed participle, we have that specific finite, but together with the subordinating conjunction, that can also be the subordinate. For example, we can say, while Mary listens, while Mary is listening to music, Mary is cooking, right? So you know, while Mary is listening to music, of course, is listening is a finite verb, right? But that is not a main clause. That is a subordinate clause. Why? Because you have the conjunction there, or right? You have like while. I would like you to learn the examples very carefully on page 131 to 135, and then create your own sentences. I would love you to include each of these, features here. You can try to write a sentence. The main clause beginning with ing, the verb ing, the ed participle, and the to infinitive. And then you have another sentence goes like finite verb with a subordinating conjunction. I would like you to have 4 sentences here. Okay, 4 sentences, then analyze, which are subordinate clauses and which are the main clauses. Are you ready?
I've written 4 sentences, but I'm not sure they're correct or not.
So, for instance, which one you feel
The
a
first
bit
one
difficult?
for ing, this is my sentence.
Okay.
Running to the door, I stumbled over the carpet. So, running to the door, it is the subordinate clause, and I stumbled over the carpet, it is the main clause.
Good, very good. So, you have like, say, 2 actions simultaneously happen, right?
Right.
Okay, good. You stumbled, say, while you running into the place, right?
And for the ed,
How about ed?
Yeah.
Participle? Yeah.
Stopped at the traffic jam, he canceled his class. Is it possible?
So he canceled his class is the
Main
clause. Then repeat your say.
I wanted to say stuck at the traffic jam, then for ed I said stopped at the traffic jam.
Which verb do you use?
Stop,
Stop.
ed.
Oh, stopped by the
Yeah.
traffic jam.
Yeah.
Stopped by the traffic jam. I like that one. Yeah, because you feel like the reason you use an ed because actually this is a passive,
Yeah.
right? So stopped by the traffic jam. He was late for class.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Very good.
And for the infinitive, this is to achieve a good result, she did the experiment over and over.
Okay. Good. I like it. Okay. Very
And
good.
the last.
So usually you say to achieve a certain goal, right? And somebody do something. What is the main clause?
So she did the experiment over and over.
Yeah, she did the experiment over and over, right? So that is to say you have your main clause. And then how about to do? Then that is
To
a
achieve a good result.
to achieve a good result. That is a
So
subordinate clause. Yes.
So
Any questions,
do
Mary?
that one.
Which one?
I think
How
the
about the
third
first one?
one.
ING.
So
ING is
the
good, right?
first one was wanting to get to the restaurant early. The couple left at 3 p.m.
Okay.
That was the ing. And then trapped under the van, the ball did not move.
What is your verb? Say participle. Can you repeat your verb participle? ED participle.
Trapped.
Trapped by something?
Trapped under the van, the ball did not move.
Oh, trapped under the wind. That's right.
Okay. So, but the third one I did not
Oh, to infinitive, right? To infinitive means that to do something.
to do something.
So that is usually say to, think about certain, say, aim,
yeah,
the purpose, think about some purpose, your aim.
to change the light bulb, he climbed the ladder.
That's right. You climb up the ladder in order to
Yeah.
change the light bulb. Very good. That's right. To be successful in this class, you should be very attentive, right? In the class discussions, you should be active in the class activities, right? Whatever. And the last one.
After he found the lost child, he called his parents.
Oh, good. After he found the lost child, he called his parents. Very good. So, what is a clause? Subordinate clause.
Subordinate clause, I think he called his parents. No, sorry. Subordinate after he found his, after he found the lost child, subordinate, and the main he called his.
Good. Very good. By the way, sometimes this ED participle, you can even use like having done something.
Yeah.
Right? Not just the ED,
Mhm.
just having plus, say, ED participle. For example, say, having, say, completed this task, we move on to the next task. Right? Or continue to do the next task. Right? So having done something, and you continue to do something. Yes. So I think this will help you, work on your, when you are working on assignment, because in the syntax assignment sheet, you can see one exercise that addresses subordinate clause or main clause. So what is the main clause? What is the main, subordinate clause? Lastly, I want to draw your attention to the attributive clause, right? Did you notice that in your textbook, it also indicates that the attributive clause or relative clause, sometimes we call it relative clause. So that is to say, like who. So this is a person who, did say this important task, right? So this is a person who did. So who did the important task? Modify the person, right? That is once again, this is a specific clause that is called, specifically we call it, relative clause. So we actually have a lot of terminologies and a lot of concepts that you must have already learned in 501, right? So if you still have any questions, you go back to check your textbooks. You say seek my input. If you want to say check some other resources, you're welcome to. Right? It's always good for us to get more familiar with these terminologies. It's always important for us to bear in mind. Even though we feel like, oh, I understand this, but I just forget these terms. But when we do the linguistics, sometimes it's very necessary for us to memorize these terms. Any questions?
So I should have taken 501 first before taking this class. Because I'm taking 501 right now, and we haven't gotten to this yet.
Okay.
So it's kind of all.
Possibly that would be the second half of the semester, right? But I mean, like relative clause, main clauses, like this, say subordinate clause, possibly, will be covered, in the second half of the semester, right? You don't have to. I think so. Still, you're on the right track, So usually, 501 and 555 are courses suggested for the, say new students. So these two courses actually give you the good foundation, right? So you can definitely take these two courses, in the same semester. I think you actually are on the right track. You don't have to wait for another maybe year or wait for another semester, right? So usually we take 101. You can definitely take 501 and 555 together. So no worries, okay? Okay, now let's move on. Now we will discuss our final, say, terms here, class functions. So class functions actually have different types, I want to introduce. One type that we are very familiar with is subject and predicator. So we have a subject, we have a verb, we have an object, right? So that belongs to subject and predicator, right? A lot of sentences, for example, like, a declarative sentence, say something like interrogative sentence, belongs to this type, subject and predicator. Okay, the second one is objects. So when we discuss objects, we want to distinguish between the direct object and the indirect object. So usually direct object is something and indirect object is somebody, the person. Pass me the salt, right? Pass me the glass of water. So this me here is direct or indicate object, the person.
Me is the direct. Sorry, could you say that again?
Pass me the salt. Give me a glass of water, right?
Yeah. So pass
Usually-
me the salt. The salt is the direct object.
Yes.
And me is the
Indirect. Wonderful. So usually something, when we talk about something, so that is the direct, okay? Or indirect, then we actually address the person. Is that right? So if you are not very familiar with this, you can see a lot of examples, right? On our textbook. I believe you can check our textbooks. Our textbook on page 141. It shows like, the words in italics and the words in bold style, the bold face in italics, that is indirect. Now the third type is complements. So complements usually includes be or linking verb, right? So you actually describe a certain feature, right? So this is beautiful, right? Okay, this is magnificent. This is, or this looks gorgeous. Looks. So in linking verb. So this is called complement. And the last one is adverbial. Okay, so noun phrases can be adverbial. Adverb phrases can, prepositional phrases, and the phrases, say another clause can function in adverbials. Can you guys give us some examples? Think about maybe one example for noun phrase. The noun phrase can work in the adverbial. The adverb phrases work in the adverbial. Prepositional phrase in the adverbial, and the clause function in adverbial.
For example, prepositional phrase, he was sitting in the corner.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right? In the corner.
You mean the adverbial?
Oh, no. Yeah.
For example, like
was-
after finishing the work,
Uh-huh.
somebody do something else,
Yeah.
right? So the after doing something. So that can be the adverb.
Exactly. After doing his homework,
That's right.
he turned off the laptop.
Good. So it's the adverb. Very good. So how about noun phrase? No, noun phrase you just think about a noun, right?
Oh, yeah.
The
yeah.
noun can function as adverb, like yesterday.
Yeah.
Or
Yesterday.
today,
Yeah,
right?
yesterday.
Like show the time, right? So I went to the theater yesterday, right? So yesterday, it's a noun phrase, and it functions as an adverb, right? Okay, you can see a lot of examples. And of course, adverb phrases work as adverbial, like we are learning linguistics enthusiastically, right? Enthusiastically. Oh, this is it. Usually the adverb phrases function as adverb used, very frequently. Very good. Okay, any other questions? Last thing I want to mention is about our, change the schedule. Because I will be presenting at 2 conferences next week, AAAL and TESOL. So I will not be here, I will be out of town. So you guys, studied on your assignment on, 2 assignments will be due in, next week. So, in a week after. So that's to say, this will be due on March 17th. So you have enough time to, work on your assignments. I hope this schedule will work for you as well. Okay? So let me know if you have any questions still. If you send me the email messages, I will try to respond to you. Possibly a little bit delayed, but of course I will do my best to respond to your, questions as quickly as I can.
That creative multimodal project, we should send it to you, or?
You still get a chance to upload it, somewhere. So not by email. Usually the assignments will be uploaded to the course site. Okay, I'll give you a link to submit this creative multimodal project. If you want to do the discussion forum as our online students, I will definitely give you the chance to submit it to the discussion link. So that is to say, you guys can actually, share, among this, this small community, and you can comment on each other's work if you like, right? Which one do you prefer? Maybe you don't want to submit it as your assignment, like a chapter assignment, because for that one, you submit an assignment to me, and then only I, can see your product.
That's good.
But if
Only you.
Will they be able to see it when we present it? Or will we be presenting it?
you will not be presenting this. So, if you like, but this is not required, And so at this moment, I'm thinking if you have a specific PowerPoint, ready, and then you can definitely upload it to the, a discussion forum as the, online students. But if you don't like it, we will do it as the regular assignment submission, just like, chapter assignment, a chapter assignment task. We'll decide later.
Let's think about it.
Okay. Good. Thank you for coming. Thank you for all your patience and your hard work.
Thank you, and good luck for the conference.
For the presentations, yes. Conference, thank you.